Star Wars fans have incredibly mixed feelings about Snoke after The Last Jedi. Was the most asked question in Star Wars fandom rendered pointless? Does Lucasfilm intend to give us an actual explanation for who Snoke is, and were there any clues given to us in The Last Jedi? Well, let's talk about it. What is up, YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. If you love Star Wars the way I love Star Wars, subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be doing all sorts of Star Wars videos, well, probably forever. Oh, and shout out to Caitlin Nichols, who got the nerd card question correct in my Raylo video. You definitely know your stuff when it comes to Star Wars, so shout out to you, Caitlin. There will be another nerd card question at the end of this video. R.I.P. Snoke. And look, I wanted to do this video immediately after watching The Last Jedi, but I had to wait because, well, it's a super spoilery topic and I wanted to give a couple weeks, but also I just kind of needed to think about how I felt about this in the movie. You have to understand, I'm a theory crafter and some of my most popular videos on YouTube were Snoke theories. So I had basically dove very deep on this character and studied a bunch of the lore to try to come up with an answer to the question, who is Snoke? And when he died, it did affect me severely, especially the first time that I watched the movie. I was super duper pissed and felt like Star Wars was sort of spinning in the face of theory crafters. Now, I have since come to grips with my feelings about this, and I actually do love that scene and what it does for the character of Kylo Ren. I still haven't completely accepted that they gave us such little explanation for who Snoke was, but I did like him in the movie and I'm happy about what happened, even though it completely shocked me. I also want to address some of the denial I've seen in the fan community online here on YouTube, specifically with Star Wars Explained. Now, Alex is an awesome dude, and I think he kills it. I look up to him in a lot of different ways, but I think that he and others are in complete denial about Snoke. A lot of people think that he is not dead and that he will show up in Episode 9, and I think that is just, well, it's denial, guys. He's gone forever, and Kylo will reign supreme as the new leader of the First Order. So I just wanted to address that really quickly because I just can't bring myself to be one of those guys that says Snoke's not really dead, here's all this content about him, because it still matters a lot. Having said that, I am still incredibly interested in who Snoke is. I mean, it's so bittersweet that he is gone because all of his scenes in the movie are actually incredible. He showcases such great power and so much wisdom in what he says that I'm basically more intrigued than ever in who he could possibly be. So let's talk about a few things in the film that have caught my eye with regards to Snoke. First of all, I think it's really interesting that Snoke is mentioned by Luke Skywalker, but only when he is being honest about what happened on the temple. Now, this scene is shown to us three different ways. The first time, Luke just tells us that he confronts Ben, and Ben basically turns on him. The second time, Ben tells us that Luke had sensed his power and wanted to kill him. And then the third time, Luke mentions that Snoke had already turned his heart. I think that's incredibly interesting that Luke would mention Snoke, but only when he's being really honest about what happened. This also mirrors what Leia says in The Force Awakens when she tells Han that no, it's not that he had too much Vader in him, it was Snoke that turned our son to the dark side. The Skywalkers, being connected into the Force, have a greater understanding of what exactly was operating around the time of Ben Solo's turn to the dark side. Another thing that really interested me was just how incredibly powerful Snoke was. I mean, he literally does crazy mind reading of Kylo Ren, forced telekinesis with little to no effort, a mind melding between Kylo Ren and Rey, which literally spanned the galaxy. And he does a mind probe similar to Kylo Ren, but is a million times more intense, and he gets everything out of her mind. I mean, the prowess that this guy had was absolutely insane. I mean, you know, he bounces force lightning off the ground with little to no effort. I was so intrigued by that. What exactly does that mean? I also found it interesting that Snoke is such a Vader fanboy, and there's one bit of this that actually isn't in the movie, but in the visual guide, we learned that the black ring, which many of us had thought was a kyber crystal ring, is actually made of obsidian from below Vader's castle. He has that ring and is a big-time Vader fanboy. He even tells Kylo Ren that he thought that Kylo could be a new Vader, and just listen to the way he delivers that line. He has such a reverence for Vader. This also mirrors what he says in the Force Awakens novelization when he refers to Vader's life as exemplary minus one moment of sentiment. Very interesting. Snoke also seems to have a knowledge of the Force that parallels Luke Skywalker's knowledge of the Force. This has to do with balancing and darkness rising with light to meet it. Luke says on Ahch-To that there's powerful light and powerful darkness, and that is the balance, and that the Force is that balance itself. And I also found it very interesting that Snoke thinks that Luke Skywalker is wise for wanting to stay on Ahch-To and not rejoin the conflict. Quickly, let me talk about the Prime Jedi, which is of course the mosaic that is found in the temple on Ahch-To. A lot of people have pointed out that this Prime Jedi mosaic looks a lot like Snoke, and you're not wrong. It's very strange how much it does look like Snoke. Is Snoke the Prime Jedi? Well, I don't really think so. I don't know if that's a visual guide to sort of distract us or not, but it is interesting that Snoke understands the need of balance, light, and dark. After all, he picks Kylo Ren as an apprentice because he comes from the light and from the dark, and he sees value in that. I also like how he tells Rey that she has the spirit of a true Jedi when she's literally using rage in the throne room. Does he know something about the true Jedi being balanced with light and darkness? And yet he says that because she is a true Jedi, she must die. Was Snoke at one time the Prime Jedi, but he has fallen from his path? I don't really know, but it is worth mentioning. So I guess this brings me to where my theory goes from here. Now, you'll remember that I was on the train that Snoke was an ancient evil and had some kind of a power that was beyond anything we had seen before, and he was more like a god or a fallen angel. I tend not to believe that that is the case. However, on the very, very slim chance that Snoke is still alive, perhaps in spirit form, then there is a possibility that he will find a new host body and that he is some kind of a Force god. But given the fact that he has Vader's castle artifacts on and he's so obsessed with Vader, I actually believe that Snoke was simply a dark side user that was on a similar path to Palpatine. It was more like a Mother Talzit type character who was looking at the Force and, as Palpatine was, trying to decipher the great mystery. I do believe that Snoke was in the unknown regions when he meets up with the remnants of the Empire, but now I am starting to believe that Snoke was not the thing that Palpatine was sensing in the unknown regions, but instead was also trying to find whatever Palpatine was trying to find in the unknown regions. To me, this makes a lot more sense, and I think he may have stumbled upon something that gave him the crazy power that we see him wield in The Last Jedi. I also do want to say that I love the idea that in some way Luke sort of created Snoke, or perhaps gave him more power by being so strong in the light. I think there's something to that, but without more information, I can't really speculate on it. Overall, guys, I am super sad that Snoke is gone, but because it serves Kylo's character, I can totally live with it, and I have made my peace with it. However, I need the explanation for who Snoke is. I'm hoping we get some of that in the novelization of The Last Jedi, and in perhaps some more ancillary material after that. I will say this right now, tensions are high in the fandom, and if Disney does not give us an explanation for Snoke, that will really upset me, and I will have to point some fingers at them and join with some of the haters that are saying they're making this up as they go along. You see, I can totally live with them not going hardcore on his explanation, because in the movie, it's really just he's a bad guy and that's all you need to know. It's for casual fans, but I do need that explanation as a hardcore fan, and I feel like if Disney does not give it to me, then they are disrespecting some of the questions that they themselves have created. So those are basically all of my thoughts on Snoke. Like I said, I think he is some kind of a Force user that was looking for the same thing that Palpatine was looking for and perhaps found it. That's pretty much where I am at with it. But what do you guys think? Are you super mad that Snoke is gone? Do you think we will get an eventual explanation for him? And do you have a theory of your own based on anything you've seen from The Last Jedi or anything else at all? Feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Alright, let's check that nerd card really quickly. I want to know, how was the Praetorian Guard's armor able to deflect lightsaber blows? This is an explanation that is in the Art of the Last Jedi book. I think it's actually a pretty dope explanation. So let me know, what was special about their armor that allowed it to block lightsabers? Answer that question in the comment section below. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and nerdy day. See ya!